Hey, this is referee Tony S., the initial official from Check in the Boots podcast, and you're listening to the Top of the Morning podcast presented by TopRopeReport.com.
Good morning, buoys and gulls. A little bit of Maina speak for you there. Welcome to episode 17 of the Top of the Morning podcast, presented by TopRopeReport.com. I am your irreverent host, Eric Ames, back again. And this week on the show, I am joined by TopRopeReport.com's Doug Berrill, because we have another WWE pay-per-view coming up tomorrow night. That is the SmackDown Live exclusive Elimination Chamber. With only a few weeks left before WrestleMania, this is the final pay-per-view for SmackDown before the big event in Orlando on April 2nd at the Citrus Bowl. I think it's called something else now. I don't quite remember. It's Camping Bowl, something or other. Who knows? That's either here nor there. So this week, me and Doug break down the entire card for Elimination Chamber, discuss what we think will happen, talk about the very, very short time frame and build-up for some of these matches, since Royal Rumble was only 2 weeks ago. So a lot of this stuff has really felt kind of thrown together. We speak about a couple of the matches, or well, one match in particular, not making any sense whatsoever to us. So yeah, without any further ado, we're going to get right into it. This is episode 17 of the Top of the Morning podcast, the Elimination Chamber preview and prediction show. And once again, I am joined by TopRopeReport.com's Doug Berrill. Okay, joining me via the magic of a cell phone this time around is TopRopeReport.com's Doug Berrill. So, Doug, I guess, why didn't you want to drive over in this wonderful weather we're having today?
Well, I looked out the window and it was 70 and sunny, and I just thought, I don't want to risk it. We're a little snowed in. This is being recorded on Thursday evening. And the Northeast is getting hit pretty hard with some snow, and it just made more sense to stay home.
Yeah, it's. I had to do a short drive earlier. It wasn't too good. It is. It's definitely nastier out than Bastion Booger's jockstrap. So.
All right. There's an image I didn't need.
Well, I know you're the WCW guy. I could have said Norman the Lunatic, but I figured you would know who I was talking about either way.
Oh, yeah.
Alright, so of course this is our Elimination Chamber preview and prediction show. But before we get into that, for those that follow TopRopeReport.com, the last 2 years we have run a little social media tournament on Twitter and Facebook for all of our hashtag TR Army, all of our readers and fans. Of course, year one was the male superstars, with Sting emerging victorious in our March Madness-style tournament. And then last year we put the focus on tag teams, and probably to nobody's surprise, the Road Warriors walked away with the victory. However, this year we have put the focus on the female superstars. There are 64 female superstars, or well, less than that now, because we're currently on day 4. By the time this airs, we'll be on day 6, so some more people will be eliminated. But any thoughts on that, Doug? You got any dark horses, any favorites of yours that people might not really be thinking about?
Well, when you talk about favorites, obviously there's plenty of good legends from before the 90s. When you think about the 90s, I think Chyna's going to do very well. Trish and Lita are going to do very well. The current women's roster with the whole revolution, they're going to do quite well. I would say that maybe if I had to pick a favorite, I'd probably go with China. And if I had to pick a dark horse, and I don't think they're that dark of a horse because they're huge names, but I'm thinking this is taking place on social media. And when I think about the people that are on social media, who they really like, people really, really like the Bella Twins.
Yeah, Brie just advanced in her first match. Granted, it wasn't against somebody, that I would have really given her a run for her money. Of course, she was matched up with Woman, Nancy Benoit, which, we won't really get into the tragedy part of that. But I'm sure a lot of the younger fans don't even really know much about her outside of the unfortunate end of her life there. Personally, for me, outside of a couple of people you said, like Trish and Lita, they're all going to get big votes. I don't know if I'd really call her a dark horse, but one of my all-time favorites, and, she kind of gets forgotten about a little bit, in my mind, the original diva or female superstar would be Miss Elizabeth. So that's somebody that I'm kind of thinking might make some noise in this tournament. Depending on who she ends up getting matched up against. If she ends up getting matched up against somebody more current, like maybe an Asuka might give her a run for her money, or like you said, anybody from the women's revolution, or a Trish or a Lita, or even China, might end up knocking her off. But that's kind of where my thoughts are at. I think Miss Elizabeth, because she never really wrestled, and because, like I said, a lot of the younger fans might not really be aware of her work outside of the WWE network, might not really think about it. So that's kind of my thoughts anyways.
Yeah, that's a good choice, and I hope she gets her Hall of Fame nod someday.
Yeah, I would agree with that. She definitely deserves it. Like I said, she, in my mind, would be the original diva. I know they're not called divas anymore, but that was really the first female on kind of a mainstream wrestling level that really, I don't know if I really could use the term make some noise, like I said, because she never actually stepped into the ring, but she always kind of had this special aura about her, and it wasn't even necessarily like her looks. She just kind of exuded class and grace, in her original run with the WWF. I'm not talking about like her NWO days or anything like that.
Right. I mean, Savage was obviously so great, but it is amazing, what she added to him. And, and I don't want to compare them, especially because, the latter wrestled and was a champion herself, but, look how much Maurice has done for The Miz.
Yep, I think it would be along those same lines. Elizabeth really gave Randy Savage like a soft side, and she really made it easier for him to be looked at as a babyface once he finally turned. Just because I said she just exuded like kind of a gracefulness, and there was just an aura about her. She didn't even really ever have to talk.
She had just that it factor.
Exactly. Something that a lot of people can't be taught, and you either have it or you don't. So now we'll get into our Elimination Chamber preview and predictions, which of course it is a SmackDown Live exclusive show coming up on Sunday, the final pay-per-view for the SmackDown brand before WrestleMania. And of course, per usual, no particular order. We don't really know how this is going to play out on Sunday, but I just kind of put them, I guess, in order of importance in my mind. And, of course, we don't know what will be on the kickoff, so it could be something on this card or something may be added between now and Sunday. We'll see. We've got 7 matches on the card right now. So we're going to kick things off with some women's action. And we have the return, or I guess the newly returned Mickie James taking on the last kicker, Becky Lynch. So my thoughts on this is, Mickie has been paired with Alexa, and I feel like a lot of the focus has been taken away from Alexa and put onto this feud with Mickie and Becky. I'm sure some of that can be attributed to the fact that there's only been 2 weeks to build this up since the Royal Rumble. So a little bit of, I feel a little bit like it's been kind of thrown together somewhat, some of the matches on this card. So it's been hard for me to get invested in a lot of this. But as it pertains to Becky and Mickie, especially on SmackDown this week, Mickie has really been kind of driving the feud and showing what her experience will bring to the table on the microphone. Like, I feel like her promo skills are far above anybody in the SmackDown women's division, and I think we saw a lot of that this week with the dual contract signing. As it pertains to the match, I feel like it would kind of be hard to bring Mickie back and really give her, her first big singles pay-per-view match since returning, and then give her a loss. So I really have a hard time picking against her here. So personally, I think I'm gonna have to go with Mickie, even though a lot of the SmackDown Women's division seems like it's going to be built around Becky in the future. But I think for the time being that you got to give Mickie James the win here.
Yeah, and you're right about the whole promo thing, and that's really a spot that Becky Lynch is going to benefit from because, Becky has everything else going for her. She's not always that great on the stick, so that's something that she can learn from, and it's going to be a helpful experience for her. I think that this match is going to tell me a lot about what this run of Mickie James is going to look like. Is she going to jump in and really be a serious contender and a serious player, which, by all accounts she should. She has all the pedigree. She has all the history. In theory she should, but, so it's going to tell me, is she going to be a serious player, or is she going to be in more of a Dudley Boys role? Because speaking of, people who have pedigree and history, I think the Dudleys have won more championships in the WWE than anybody of all time. But when they came back for that year, they, I don't want to call them enhancement talent because obviously they're not jobbers, but you know what I mean. Like, they're veterans who are there to help and push the younger talent. I don't think that Mickie's in that spot yet, and I'd like to see her have a more serious run. But so I think that the result of this match is going to teach me a lot about what this run of hers is going to look like. And again, like you just said it, I mean, shocker that we agree. I have Mickie's name circled. For the reasons that you said, I think that she needs it more. Even though she's a veteran, does that make sense? Like, I think that she needs it more if she's not going to be in that Dudley Boy spot.
No, I totally agree with you. That was the first thing that I thought of, too, was the Dudley Boys and how they really were misused for that whole year that they came back. I understand that you don't want to really be putting them over on the younger guys because they're not going to be around for much longer, but I think that you have to put them over at least for a little bit to make them seem viable so that they can kind of give the rub to those younger guys. It makes it seem more important when they finally lose, you know what I mean? They didn't really seem important by the time they left, and honestly, I don't really blame them for not for reneging on signing an extension with the company because they weren't really doing anything. They were kind of a joke by the time that they left. So I'm hoping that they don't go that route with Mickie, and I don't think that they will. But of course, time will tell because the Dudleys really started out kind of hot as well, and then by the end of their time, they basically had been relegated to superstars matches and were losing left and right, and it just didn't really make any sense to me. So,
and even though I want Mickie to have a serious run in 2017 this year, she can better afford to eat a loss at WrestleMania. So I think that you give her this win, so that, you know, she comes in and says, hey, I'm Mickie James and I have a leg to stand on.
Yeah, I would agree with that. The other thing about the SmackDown Women's Division, you know, it's kind of well known at this point that over on the Raw side, it's looking like a fatal four-way for the Raw Women's title between Nia Jax, Sasha Banks, Bayley, and Charlotte is pretty much a lock. But when it comes to the SmackDown Women's Division, we still don't really know what exactly they're going to do there. So I'm thinking we'll see some things take shape at Elimination Chamber, hopefully. But, you know, SmackDown, they'll have more time to build towards some matches on WrestleMania on television, since they don't, you know, Raw has Fastlane on March 5th, and then 4 weeks later is WrestleMania, where SmackDown is going to have, I don't know, what is like 6 or 7 weeks to be able to...
Yeah, I was going to say, I think it's 7 or 8, because, it's April 2nd?
Yeah, they got a good amount of time to be able to...
I think it's 7 weeks.
...together on television, so maybe we'll see some things take shape there. So, like you said, real shocker. We're both going with Mickie, so that means Becky will probably win.
Right.
All right, next up on my little list here, a match that I gotta be quite honest, I have absolutely zero interest in. It was just made this past week on SmackDown Live. We've seen some small interaction. It hasn't really gotten a whole lot of play on television. And it is a handicap match, which will see Apollo Crews team up with Kalisto to take on Dolph Ziggler. Take on Dolph Ziggler. Wow, that could have been a Randy Marsh South Park moment. That would have been really bad. They're taking on Dolph Ziggler, and since I am porky pigging and stepping all over my words, I will let you take the first hacks.
You know, I hate this match so much.
Agreed.
I really do. And I hate it because who walks away from this match looking good? Nobody walks away from this match looking good. Because, you know, okay, not nobody, because obviously if Ziggler wins, okay, you know, he beat 2 guys, but then you're destroying Crews and Kalisto. They can't beat Ziggler combined, but if Kalisto and Crews win, well, it took 2 of you to beat Ziggler. I mean, I don't get this match, and I don't understand who walks away looking good. This is the only match on the card that I haven't even circled a winner for, because I'm just so frustrated with how all 3 of these guys are being used. So, I don't know, man.
Yeah, I'm totally with you. When I was covering SmackDown this week, I wrote, you know, anybody that reads our results, I do the little off-the-top part for all the matches and kind of give my opinion. And after the Crews and Ziggler match, I said, all right, you know, I thought that this match might be saved for Elimination Chamber. Perhaps it gets turned into a tag there, but I don't really know who you would put with Ziggler. And then a couple segments later, they announce it as a handicap match, and I'm kind of like punching myself in the dick. Like, why are you doing this? This doesn't make any sense at all. Like,
you're not doing anybody a favor.
Yeah, it does nothing for any of the parties involved. I couldn't agree with you more. It's really hard for me to pick a winner on this one because, just like you said, it doesn't do anything good for anybody. I don't understand it at all, you know. I could see if maybe you gave Ziggler a partner just to kind of get somebody else on the card and even the sides up. I was thinking, like, I don't know, maybe this would be a good spot to throw Kurt Hawkins a bone, since he hasn't done absolutely anything since they've signed him. But at the same time, it's like, does giving Ziggler a partner really make sense with the change in his character of kind of being a bit of a loner now? So I'm gonna have.
I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't get it at all. I'm not going to, or well, I guess I am going to pick a winner, But the way I see this one kind of playing out is, we've seen Dolph use a chair quite a bit on Apollo and Kalisto, and I think he just gets frustrated and grabs a chair and just goes to town on them, and Cruz and Kalisto end up winning by DQ. So that's where I'm going with it, but I gotta be honest, if I wasn't covering this match, it probably would be my poop break.
Right. Yeah, that's probably good. It's probably going to end with some kind of disqualification or something, because I don't understand how anybody pinning anybody in this match makes anybody walk away looking better. And I wasn't even thinking about the DQ until you just said it. If, gun to my head, if I had to pick one, I guess I would have to go with Cruz and Kalisto, and for no other reason, please don't bury Apollo Cruz.
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't really done much of anything outside of getting a shot at the Intercontinental title at SummerSlam last year. So I don't think you can have Ziggler beat them clean, and I definitely don't see that happening. I just don't think you want Dolph to pin either one of them. I don't know. It doesn't really make any sense. If you are gonna go that way, I'd much rather see Dolph end up pinning Kalisto than Apollo Crews, because Kalisto has really fallen off the map.
Yeah. No, yeah, I could agree with that, but it's probably going to be some screwy finish, and it's just going to be probably the most meh part of the show.
Right. I feel like some things have been kind of thrown together for this one. A, because of having a lack of time to really build things up between pay-per-views, and B, because essentially you have your 6 top guys on this brand all in one match in the main event. So, I mean, like I said, neither one of us are interested in that, so we're going to move right along. Of course, we got 3 women's matches on the show. This will be the second, and like I said, I think that's because you have a plethora of your top guys in the main event, so you got to kind of fill in with something. This is the most interesting women's match on the card, in my opinion, and I think the build-up has been brilliant, and that would be Nikki Bella taking on Natalya. And to be quite honest, I think this is some of the best mic work that Natalya has had through her entire career, and a lot of that has to do with the reality-based promos that she's been cutting. I mean, I've kind of been just sitting back and watching and just golf clapping to everything she's been saying, because I love it when they can infuse some realism to any angle, no matter who it is, and whether it's a female or male or tag team or whatever kind of a storyline you're doing. I don't know if you saw the report that, Nikki's still having issues with her neck, probably going to be taking some time off after Mania and then kind of moving into a part-time role. Do I think that plays a factor in the outcome of this? Not necessarily, because the whole time of this, since Survivor Series this has been going on, Natalya has gotten the upper hand on Nikki every single time, whether it's on SmackDown or on Talking Smack like we saw this week, where she attacked her again and kind of face-planted her into the glass on the announce desk. So I find it very hard to believe that Nikki takes the loss here, especially if she's going to be put into not necessarily a high-profile match at WrestleMania, but the rumor is that she'll be teaming up with Cena to take on The Miz and Maurice, and then, of course, like we said, we don't know what they're doing with the rest of the SmackDown women's division, so I have to go with Nikki Bella on this one.
Yeah, this is a flip a coin match for me. Originally, I was leaning toward Nikki, but if she does that, mixed tag match, I've heard people have different opinions on that mixed tag match. I don't mind it. I think it could be very interesting. When you were talking about Nikki Bella's injury, my question was, obviously she's going to need some time off, and then, you had mentioned her going part-time, and it made me wonder, like, is she going to go part-time, or is she done? Like, I don't know. It seems like she talked about wanting to, bow out a couple years ago. She's talked about wanting to do some other things. So, that was another one of my questions. The interesting thing about this rivalry, not only have they built it for a while, but obviously Natalya's, who, like you said, has been brilliant. It's the first time in a while, it's the first time probably since AJ Lee that she can bring up the Cena thing and not have me completely roll my eyes, because it seems like everybody who feuds with Nikki Bella brings up John Cena. And so it was starting to get a little played out, but Natalya's doing it very well. Like, I remember AJ Lee, I think her big zinger, and she was talking to both of the Bellas, was that talent isn't sexually transmitted, and that one floored me. So when everybody would go after Nikki for John, after that, I was just like, all right, we've seen this. But no, Natalya's been great. This is a total flip a coin match for me. I do have a winner circled on this one, and it is shocking, Nikki.
I mean, I could probably make a case for Natalya winning, because, she
has a lot of momentum right now.
She does, and if Nikki is going to go part-time and then, take some time off after WrestleMania, do you really want the one that's going to be sticking around to take the loss here? But like I said, if Nikki's going to be put into kind of a, like I said, not a high-profile match, but I guess, I don't even know if I'd call it an important match at WrestleMania. I kind of think that you want her to have the win there. I don't think that she's done, because of the two Bella Twins, she's always been the one that has been more like, I want to wrestle, as opposed to Brie, who of course is now pregnant. That's funny that you brought up the AJ Lee line of talent is not sexually transmitted, considering who she's married to, which
right.
I have made no bones about my feelings about that guy, which is funny because I was quite a big fan of his, and you know what, whatever, he's not going to listen to this. CM Punk is a douchebag. Let me just throw that out there. He's an asshole. He really is. So thank God that doesn't seem to be sexually transmitted, because AJ seems to be pretty nice still.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, I was going to say, obviously we don't know either one of them personally, but I think I know who the better of the two are.
Right, exactly. All right, so I think we're 3 for 3 so far. Are you trying to follow my lead, Doug, because I've been doing so well on the predictions the last couple times?
Well, at the Royal Rumble, I think I got one big win, and when we get to Elimination Chamber, we will bring up the fact that, yes, you had Randy Orton and I did not.
Everybody was like, not necessarily you, but a lot of people were kind of killing me for that pick too, and I'm just thinking, like, have I ever let any of you down before?
But I did get one big win, because I said that it's an opportunity for Naomi to pin the champ in the pre-show match, and gosh darn it, I got that one right.
You did get that one over me, which, of course, leads into a match on this card that we will get into in a little bit here. But next up on my little schedule, we have another match that was just made this past week on SmackDown Live, and it is going to pit a now former member of the Wyatt family, Luke Harper, up against the 2017 Royal Rumble winner, the Viper, Randy Orton, and I will let you take the floor.
Well, I think that, I don't want to give away too much, because we're going to talk about Elimination Chamber, and there's a lot of speculation about Bray Wyatt in the Elimination Chamber, but obviously this match is probably going to be somehow pivotal in the overall story of the Wyatt family and Orton's involvement and his relationship with Bray. I think that this is going to be a good match. It's going to be a storytelling match. I really don't have a pick. And when I say that, though, I don't have an exact pick of what's going to happen. Randy Orton has his destiny at WrestleMania already. That's already set in stone. Luke Harper, the fans really like Luke Harper. And I feel like there will be some sort of shenanigans involved, some sort of Bray Wyatt shenanigans involved. But I'm thinking Orton just won the Royal Rumble. He has his destiny at WrestleMania. He doesn't need it as much. So I think in some way, I don't know how Luke Harper's going to win, and I think that's going to do good things for Luke Harper.
You kind of stole my thunder, Doug, because that's exactly what I was thinking as well. You know, like you said, I don't want to give away too much because we'll talk about the chamber match, but I definitely see Bray getting involved. He probably accompanies Orton to the ring because they've pretty much been inseparable since Orton joined the Wyatt family. But I think that he gets involved trying to help Orton win, and it kind of backfires on him. I think that you can make a case like, well, if Orton's going to be in a championship match at WrestleMania, do you really want him going in with a pay-per-view loss? But he
can afford it.
Yeah, he's friggin' Randy Orton, you know. He's essentially untouchable. What is really going to hurt him at this point? And it would do so much more for Harper to get the win here, whether by hook or by crook. I find Harper's turn to be very interesting. I wasn't really sure how it was going to be received because he's been a heel his entire career in the WWE. There's no denying how talented the guy is, especially for a big man. He really is phenomenal in the ring. And if you listen to anybody else, any other superstars talk about him in, you know, like a shoot interview or whatever, they'll all say the same thing. Especially Daniel Bryan on Talking Smack this week had a lot of great things to say about Harper. I just don't think he's ever really gotten the chance. He had kind of a cup of coffee for a singles run and is probably one of the more forgettable Intercontinental Champions of all time. But when he held that strap, I believe it was 2015 at TLC, him and Dolph Ziggler completely stole the show in a ladder match. So we know what he can do in the ring, and I think he just needs to be given a shot. So with that being said, I kind of want to pose this question to you. Do you think, or well, you know what? Actually, let me hold off on that because it does involve the chamber. So we'll rewind. We'll go back. We'll go back to that one when we do our chamber picks. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Luke Harper as well on this one. I think that Bray tries to help Orton win, and it kind of bites him in the ass. So Jesus, Doug, I think I'm trying, man. I think I have one. I think I have one that I'm almost positive is different than yours. Yeah, I think we're gonna be very different on this one because I'm gonna go really weird, and some people are probably gonna say this guy has no idea what he's talking about.
You must be talking about the tag team turmoil match.
That is, of course. Next up, the tag team turmoil match for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. And, of course, we have the champions, American Alpha, who will be defending against Breezango, the Usos, the Vaudevillains, the Ascension, and then Heath Slater and Rhino. And for anybody that's not familiar with a tag team turmoil match, the way that this will work out is the match will start with two teams. Once a team gets pinned, they're eliminated, the next team comes out, and, you know, so on and so forth until there's only one team remaining. So the tag team titles, I gotta be honest, they have not really meant much of anything to me since the Wyatts dropped them. American Alpha, for as good as they are, and it's not their fault at all, no fault at all of Jordan and Gable, but they have not done anything since winning the titles. They've hardly been on television. So it's really it's really hard for me to say that they won't retain just because they really haven't been given a chance. However, I'm going to go way off the board on this one, and a lot of people are going to think I'm crazy for it, but I'm actually going to go with the Ascension on this one. A lot of that has to do with them picking up a win this week on SmackDown. I think that, I just said American Alpha's never been given a chance, but the Ascension has really never been given a chance. And, there's been some reports of them kind of trying to revamp themselves. I saw a picture, I can't remember where I saw it. I saw it on some website of kind of like some new ring gear that they've really been getting made up. So it looks like they're trying to kind of tweak their look a little bit. And, if they do, let me just tell everybody, they're going to think that it's a really cool kind of a change. From what I've seen. I don't want to give too much away, because if it doesn't happen, then I'll still look like an idiot, but I guess I'm used to that at this point. But yeah, I think that everybody really has a shot in this one, outside of Slater and Rhino, in my opinion. I don't think that you go back to those guys. I think Slater and Rhino have kind of lasted way, way longer than I expected.
I forgot they were still together.
Yeah, I mean, like, the tag team division has been really forgettable lately. Like I said, I almost forgot that American Alpha was even champions, because they really haven't done anything at all, really. But yeah, I'm gonna go weird pick here, and I'm gonna take the Ascension. I think it's time that they got a shot to do something.
Well, I'm looking at some of the things that I wrote down before we started talking, and when I under the tag team Turmoil thing, the first thing I wrote was I liked the surprise win by the Ascension. And I wrote a couple weeks ago when I did like the New Year's resolution things, I said repair your broken tag teams. And I'm thinking about the Ascension and I talked about Breezango. I said, I would keep the goofy gimmick, but pair that goofy gimmick with being a force to be reckoned with in the ring, right? Like that, because they're funny. Like, those two guys, they're funny, and they're entertaining, but you don't want them to just be joke jobbers. They're way too talented for that. And in the Ascension, again, the longest reigning tag champs in NXT. And then they get brought up, and then everybody hates, the fact that they look like the Road Warriors.
Which was stupid.
Everybody takes a dump on them, and then, I mean, you want to talk about a Berrill. I know that they were trying to just get a cheap pop from all the, the legends, but when they bring them down, when they have the old tag teams, the Outsiders were there, JBL brings out Ron Simmons, who else? The New Age Outlaws were there, and then they make jokes out of them. And what the heck have they been doing with the Ascension since? Like, okay, if you don't want them to have, like, the same Road Warriors look, it doesn't excuse the fact that they are a tag team with a ton of potential. And they've just been a joke since then. And it's a shame, because the tag team division has been very forgettable, but it doesn't have to be, because on SmackDown especially, you have a bunch of tag teams with all the potential in the world, whether that potential has been realized, like the Usos, who, by the way, I love their heel turn. They've been dead. I feel like they've been dead quiet since then. Like, I love that heel turn.
There was an injury there, so they missed a little bit of time, and that kind of...
Okay, yeah, I was like, where have these guys been? And so I like the surprise win by the Ascension, and I hope that they keep Breezango together, but they make him more serious in the ring. I don't think the Ascension pick is that wacky. But I am going to stick with American Alpha for now. Just because, like you said, they haven't done enough with them yet, and you do need to rebuild these other tag teams, and I think that was a great first step for the Ascension. But I think that Alpha retains for now. Let's do some repair work on the other guys.
Yeah, like I said, I could pretty much conceivably make a case for just about everybody outside of Slater and Rhino, especially the Usos, because it really seems like they have unfinished business with American Alpha. So even if they took it, it wouldn't surprise me at all. But just to be different, I'm gonna go with the Ascension. And personally, I don't know about you, but I never ever understood. I mean, shocker, I don't understand a lot of the things that I guess the marks or whatever you want to call them. A lot of the opinions that they have, but I never ever understood the just vitriolic dislike of the Ascension just because they wear face paint and look a little bit similar to the Road Warriors. I don't know how you feel about that.
Well, what about Demolition Man?
Yeah, I don't get it. You know what I mean? Everybody is essentially a retread of something that's like, there's nothing in wrestling that hasn't been done before, it seems, you know. Pretty much everything.
Like everybody.
Yeah, pretty much everything has been done before, you know. Like,
even Ric Flair, dude.
Exactly. Like, if the NWO angle were to happen right now, would everybody all be pissed and be like, oh, that's stupid, they're just copying something from Japan, you know? I just don't get it. I don't understand it at all. Sometimes it's really hard for me to not get into banter with people on social media because they just say the stupidest things ever. Let me throw a little bit of an example at you. So, of course, there was a lot of people that were pissed about the booking of the Royal Rumble. You know, they don't let things play out. But there was one guy in particular who was really mad about Orton winning, and his whole argument was, you know, Orton had his time. Why don't we let a new guy shine here? And, you know, why aren't we building for the future? And I asked, you know, okay, well, what would your alternative picks for winners be? And the names that he gave me were Goldberg, Brock Lesnar, The Undertaker, Roman Reigns, and I'm thinking to myself,
come on, dude, you gotta give the young guys a chance.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, those guys, they never had their chance, you know what I mean? So sometimes people, I just don't get it. It can drive.
Well, I remember seeing you talking to some of these people, and I remember I chimed in. I said, you know, look, at least Orton has a fresh story. You know, like a fresh and interesting story.
It's like a lot of people were upset that Finn Balor wasn't in the Rumble, and, you know, Roman Reigns came out as the number 30, but they don't have all the information yet. Like, Balor was not cleared now, which we know, and we now know that WWE never planned for him to be in it, because they never expected him back until late February or early March, and then they always planned for it to be Roman to kind of take the heat away from Orton winning and to give Orton a bigger reaction. But then those people are like, well, you know, why wasn't AJ Styles in the Royal Rumble? And it's like, they don't have any logic, you know what I mean? Reigns loses his championship match earlier in the night. So it makes total sense for him to enter the Rumble, because he's not going to get a rematch unless he wins the Rumble, right? AJ was the champion and lost, and is guaranteed a rematch. So why is he going to enter the Rumble to get another rematch? You know what I mean? There's no logic to any of the thoughts sometimes. It can really drive you crazy, and I do my best not to get into it, but every once in a while, I kind of have to speak my piece.
Right, I get it.
Okay, so that was my rant for this week's episode. We've got 2 matches left on the card, both title matches. And before we get into the Chamber match, we have the SmackDown Women's Championship up for grabs, which will see the champion Alexa Bliss defending against Naomi. And we've kind of been alternating here, so I will let you lead off.
Well, you know, when I was first thinking about it, I was thinking, it's just 2 weeks from the Rumble. It seems almost like, not a filler, but you know what I mean. And my original thought was that many people agree that Naomi is overdue, right? She's kind of overdue. A lot of, especially, the harder fans, they recognize her talent, but she hasn't quite, passed a certain level. And I was also thinking, Alexa Bliss is just too good as a heel right now to let her relinquish it. There was one moment, not only, Naomi has the whole I pinned you twice thing going, right, which kind of, with the ebbs and flows of wrestling, then it makes you think, well, okay, and then Alexa responds with a title win, and I'm thinking, well, where do you go with Naomi after that? And there was one moment on SmackDown this week that really stood out to me. Because at first I was thinking, look, Naomi is overdue, and she's probably going to get her due this year, and maybe it'll be after WrestleMania, maybe it'll be over the summer, then she'll get her due. When they were doing that contract signing, and Alexa looks at her and says, oh, geez, I forgot you were here. I mean, obviously, like, she's gold, she's awesome, and that was a funny moment, but it was also like, Naomi has been overlooked, and they're really illustrating that on TV. They're telling that story in that small little moment. So even though my knee jerk was to go with Alexa, I think I'm going to go with Naomi, because I'm not saying necessarily that she's walking into WrestleMania with that belt, because we got 7 weeks to work with between now and then. I could definitely see the women's title flipping between now and then, but I think I'm going to go with Naomi.
Damn, dog, I thought we were going to be different on this one, too.
Oh, this is the one I thought we were going to be different on.
No, samesies. No, I'm totally with you. I'm going to pick Naomi. I believe the last time that we talked on the show, my main concern with Naomi being the challenger for Alexa was, I feel like, she might be kind of a fill-in challenger just to kind of get Alexa to WrestleMania. But she brought up a good point during that dual contract signing, which kind of slipped my mind, but WrestleMania is in Orlando this year, which is Naomi's hometown. And because she's been overlooked for so long, what better way to kind of give her, I guess, not necessarily like a feel-good moment, but to kind of give her that, I guess, pat of approval, like, yeah, we get it, we appreciate what you've been doing, we know you've been overlooked, than to let her walk into WrestleMania as the champion. So I think that's what's going to happen. I wouldn't be surprised if that title flip-flopped before then, but I would like to see Naomi walk in as the champion, and honestly, this pick is a lot more, I guess, with my heart, because I've always been a big Naomi fan. But ever since she came back with this new entrance, which is ridiculously awesome, let me just say, like, it really has kind of put her on another level, it's really made her stand out a lot more than she ever had stood out before. So,
and if she gets the belt, they have to put something on the belt to make that glow.
Exactly, yeah, I mean, let her dip it in some, like, glow-in-the-dark paint or something, I don't know. They've given Cena enough custom title belts, so why not let her have one? But, I think the fact that, WrestleMania is in her hometown this year, I think that would be kind of a nice pat on the back for her, to let her walk in to her hometown as the champion. So, yeah, I thought that we were going to be different on this one, but I guess we're going to have to be the same. Friggin' bloody-nosed Berrill.
He's at it again.
He's at it again. Alright, that brings us to the main event of the evening, unless they do something crazy and kick off the show with it, which I can't imagine they will.
That would be dumb.
That would be very dumb, but then again, we've also got Apollo Crews and Kalisto in a handicap match against Dolph Ziggler, not Zigger, so...
Maybe that'll be the main event.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows? Maybe we'll, I can't even come up with a scenario that would be the main event. So, of course, I'm talking about the Elimination Chamber match for the WWE Championship. the now 16-time champion, Puke, John Cena, defending against AJ Styles, The Miz, Baron Corbin, Bray Wyatt, and the Intercontinental Champion, Dean Ambrose. I feel like if people listened to the Royal Rumble show, they already know where I'm going with this, because I'm sticking to my guns, and I'm going with Bray Wyatt. It doesn't make any sense to me at all for anybody else to win this. You know, I don't see Cena retaining and taking on Orton at WrestleMania, unless he's going to drop the title on SmackDown in the coming weeks, which I think would be a mistake. I think that you need to do that on a pay-per-view. But they've already given us Cena versus Orton this week on SmackDown, so why would you give it to us again at WrestleMania? I don't see Styles taking it back because, you know, Orton's playing a heel right now, and it just doesn't really make any sense unless AJ's going to turn babyface. But with the rumors of AJ taking on Shane at WrestleMania, him retaining also doesn't make sense for that reason. You know, that kind of leads into the storyline of AJ can be like, well, you never gave me my one-on-one match, one-on-one rematch for the title. Instead, you stuck me in a chamber. You know, kind of leading into his match against Shane. The Miz, I wouldn't be shocked to see him be the WWE champion this year. I think he deserves it, but I don't think this is the spot. I think that Miz ends up costing Cena the match somehow, which will lead into their supposed mixed tag at WrestleMania. Corbin, I've become a huge fan of Corbin lately. He's vastly improved on the microphone, and he is definitely a future champion. But again, he's a heel. Orton's supposed to be a heel right now. Doesn't make any sense. And then Ambrose, I'm so down on Ambrose right now. I think that he needs a change, and he's already got the Intercontinental title, so it doesn't make any sense to me to put the WWE title back on him to take on Orton. Just Bray Wyatt is the only one that makes any sense here. And the fan in me is just pulling for him so hard to finally get a big win and get that title. So I'm going with Bray Wyatt.
Yeah, I think a lot of the, you know, all the betting money is going to be on Bray Wyatt. It definitely makes the most sense. It's funny when you were just going through that list. I jotted down a couple notes, like I said earlier, before we talked, and it made me laugh when you were talking because, you know, next to Ambrose, it just says Ambrose dash no. That's my only note for him. But yeah, you're right. He has the IC. You know, so he doesn't need it. We're not far removed from him having the title, then challenging AJ Styles for his lost title. Just like my notes say, Ambrose, no.
Personally, I would like to see Ambrose do something fresh and defend the Intercontinental title at WrestleMania against Baron Corbin. That's kind of what I'm...
Yeah, that'd be good. I like that. And next to Corbin, you know, I wrote down, you know, hey, nice win in that Fatal 4-Way. And you know, he can be a true top heel, and he's kind of SmackDown's Braun Strowman in the sense that, well, okay, let me back up a little bit. Because people were much higher on him than they were Braun Strowman maybe a year ago. And Strowman's come a long way, but I guess what I mean is they've both come a long way in terms of being like big. Braun's more of a monster, but you get what I'm saying when I say like the big top monster heel kind of guys.
They've been giving Corbin some good spots too. You know, he got that big win this week. He had a little bit of help, but he was the one that eliminated Braun Strowman in the Royal Rumble, so they obviously have big expectations for him in the future.
Yeah, I mean, my only concern with him, I don't want him to be, you know, like that. Hopefully SmackDown's a great spot for him. Because if he were on Raw, he might not be getting these opportunities. That's what I'm kind of saying. And I think that he has all the potential in the world to be a top heel. And, you know, I hope they let him roll with it. The Miz, like you said, if they're going with the mixed tag, he's probably not there. And here's the most interesting thing, because all the smart money is going to be on Bray Wyatt. And, huge Bray Wyatt fan. Everybody's desperate to see him get his opportunity. And he was suspiciously absent in that match. It was because they could have made it a fatal 5-way for everybody who's not the champion, but it was a fatal 4-way. So it's kind of like trying to make him a little bit of an afterthought. So, yeah, I think the smart money is on Wyatt. Here's my only thing with Bray. And like I said, put a gun to my head, put every dollar I have on the line. I'm going with Bray Wyatt. Here's my only thing, and I don't like saying this. The following words, I don't like saying these. Like we said, we've got 7 weeks to fill. Okay, so a lot can happen for SmackDown.
I think I know what you're going to say, but yeah, go ahead.
I don't know if you do. Let's see. Going into WrestleMania, does Backstage see him as a money guy?
Yeah, I guess I never really... I thought you were going to say something about knowing his luck, he'll probably get injured.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's always that. But yeah, like that... Because at the end of the day, it seems like Backstage, they always do what they think are the marquee names that are going to draw the casual fans in. And all the hardcore fans are desperate for Bray Wyatt to get his big opportunity and to get an opportunity like this. And again, the smart money is on him. Does Backstage see Bray Wyatt versus Randy Orton as a money match?
Yeah, I kind of understand what you're saying. I'm not so sure that really plays a role going into WrestleMania, because it's going to be such a huge card that you don't really need it to be kind of like a selling point or a marquee match, because you've already got Goldberg versus Lesnar, which we'll end up talking about on the Fastlane show, in my opinion, is going to be for the Universal title, whether I agree with it or not.
Yeah.
But they're very much planning for Seth Rollins to be ready, and by all accounts, he's going to be good to go. So you still got Triple H versus Rollins. You still got the celebrity appeal with Shaq versus Big Show, and whether people want to admit it or want to see it or not, people will still tune in for that are just casual fans, because Shaq's a big celebrity. You're still going to have Cena's name value. There's still a lot going to be going on for WrestleMania, so I don't necessarily think that you need Bray versus Orton to be like a selling point, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, and hopefully, when the casual fan tunes in, for all these other reasons, hopefully it's Bray Wyatt's coronation. The only thing about that is, Orton's probably going to win.
Yeah, I'm not so sure, I feel like if it is Bray versus Orton, which I'm about 99% sure it's going to be, I think that one could go really either way. It wouldn't be the first time that we've seen someone win the Royal Rumble and then lose. And it definitely wouldn't be the first time that we've seen Orton win the Royal Rumble and then lose at WrestleMania either. So whether that plays a factor in it, I don't know.
And I will bow my hands down to Randy Orton if he gives Bray Wyatt that big moment.
I mean, it wouldn't shock me, because he's not the same person that he was when he was younger, by all accounts. He's definitely a lot more willing to put over younger guys. It seems like he's kind of realizing that, I don't want to say his days are numbered, but he's definitely a lot closer to the back end of his career than he is to the middle or the front. So, yeah, I'm sure we'll learn a lot more, and we'll of course talk a lot more about that as we'll be doing a WrestleMania preview and prediction show in a couple of months here. So, So that's going to wrap it up for us for Elimination Chamber. So any pressing issues on your mind, Doug? Anything coming up in your column, the Doug's Day device, that you're going to be talking about?
I don't have anything per se. I always have things on deck. I've always got the call to...
I know your Hall of Fame series might be a little bit screwy now that we've had some people announced.
It's funny because every time they announce a name that I haven't put on already, I just smack myself on the head because I had all of these guys in my list, but for one reason or another, I just hadn't put them on. I think I'm 3 years in, 17, 18, 19, and I just hadn't put them in. But trust me, Rock and Roll Express. Of course, I had them in. Just one name after another. I got two are going in this year that I already had. That was DDP and Jake. But yeah, all the other entries, I swear I had them on my piece of paper.
Yeah, the only really thing on my mind, since we're talking about the Hall of Fame, there's been a lot of rumors that the Undertaker's going in this year. It's not going to happen, people. I don't know where this came from, but I don't buy that, and I don't think anybody else should buy that either, because...
I don't know if you guys know this, but they have a headliner per year, and they already announced Kurt Angle as headlining the class. I don't think Undertaker is playing second fiddle.
Thank you, Doug. See, I would hug you right now if you said that. But yeah, I don't think Undertaker's playing second fiddle, and I don't think Kurt Angle's playing second fiddle either. And honestly, they're going to need Undertaker, or more, not necessarily Undertaker per se, but they're going to need headliners for years to come. So Undertaker is not going in the Royal Rumble this year. Wherever that rumor's coming from, everybody...
You mean Hall of Fame?
Yeah, everybody stop believing it. It's not happening. So just, you can flush that one for this year. I think that this probably is his last WrestleMania. I feel like I say that every year, but he's really, really in bad shape this time. So, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Which is another selling point and money match that I kind of forgot about when we were talking about WrestleMania would be Undertaker versus Roman. Which I didn't even mention. So yeah, we'll see how it all plays out. So yeah, why don't you go ahead and plug your social media stuff for the people again if they're not following you already.
Well, I'm sure you got all the main page stuff out there, but if anybody wants to talk some wrestling, I'm on Twitter at TRR_Doug.
All right, until next time, Dougie, I will, sure I'll be seeing you soon, and you'll definitely be on the show again at a later date.
Absolutely.
All right, ladies and germs, thank you for tuning in. This has been episode 17 of the Top of the Morning podcast, our Elimination Chamber preview and prediction show. Definitely looking forward to see what's going to happen tomorrow night, hoping that the WrestleMania card will start to take shape. Very surprising that me and Doug agreed on a lot of our picks this time around. I thought that there would be some differences, but there really was only one, and to be quite honest, I'm not 100% confident in my tag team Turmoil pick. Sometimes you just gotta be different to go against the grain and make things a little more interesting. It would be pretty boring if we agreed on absolutely everything on the show. Then you probably wouldn't want to listen, so... Of course, we would like to encourage everybody to keep reading TopRopeReport.com if you want all the latest and greatest news in the world of professional wrestling. If you do read TopRopeReport.com, then my Randy Orton winning the Rumble pick probably wouldn't have sounded so crazy to some of you. So definitely make sure you hashtag get on top for all of that. Of course, I will be doing live coverage of Elimination Chamber tomorrow night, which I provide for every pay-per-view. And also for Raw, SmackDown Live, NXT, 205 Live, all the good stuff every week. So definitely make sure you check that out. If you would like to follow TopRopeReport.com on social media, we are on Twitter at TRR Wrestling. We are also on Facebook. You can find us there at TopRopeReport.com with no dot. And then we're also on Instagram at TopRopeReport.com with no dot. Of course, if you'd like to check Doug out on the Twitter machine, his Twitter handle, once again, is at TRR_Doug. If you want to follow me on there, I am on at TRR_EAmes. That's EAMES. And definitely be sure to check out all episodes of the Top of the Morning podcast. If you want to go back and see how we did on some of our pay-per-view predictions, you can check out all those on iTunes, SoundCloud, YouTube, and Podcruncher. Of course, all of our great interviews with people like Jake the Snake Roberts. Last week, Doug interviewed Glacier from WCW. We've had Dynamite Didi from WXW down in Florida. And, of course, Sean Maluda from the Cruiserweight Classic and NXT. Those are all on there as well. So definitely be sure to give them a listen. Until next time, my friends, as usual, we like to leave you with a little bit of positivity. Don't forget, it's not how hard you get knocked down, but it's whether or not you can kick out.